Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you guys the Oregon Scablands. And I actually went there and got some sick drone footage of these mounds. And these mounds and the other streamline formations, they show how a water current flowed over these hillside and flowed over this entire landscape to make these mounds and streamlined features. This is just like what I saw on my way up there in Northern California off the 299. Where we see parallel paths of water. Here we see the curving path of the water current as it flowed over this Oregon landscape, reforming and reshaping the mounds of dirt and topsoil into these streamlined paths. Here we can see how the water carved around and sculpted out these mounds, just like, again, what I saw in Northern California. The same type of carving out of mound type formations. And also there's types of terraces on that hillside. And these are also on top of terraces as well that are in a lot of ravines. There's lots of ravines in these areas that are all terraced. Now, something I never would have figured out with just Google Earth is that these are all drop stones, big boulders that make the contrast between the mounds and the troughs incredibly apparent. There's actually a bunch of antelope in these areas as well. I couldn't help but to get them on footage as I was checking out these landscapes and seeing how there's actually all these drop stones on top of these hillsides, which help make the mound formations more apparent. And so, yeah, when we look at these hillsides, we see lots of drop stones, and we see mounds, and we see lots of terraces. And we can see clearly how water poured across these areas to sculpt the mounds and to leave the drop stones. And this was the best shot I got, where you can really clearly see the parallel paths of water. Now that's exactly where it is, and we're going to zoom out, get the full perspective, and see the surrounding features of the salt scablands. And those are terraces right here, so we're going to zoom out and check out the terraces, and we're going to see how those terraces are actually a part of a much larger series of terraces that show parallel paths of water current that flowed kind of from the northwest. And these are all salt basins as well, so you know what that indicates. Now those smaller terraces are cutting across the larger ones, indicating two different directions of water flow. And the smaller water flow, that we can actually trace that back, and we can trace it up to the Washington Scablands. And we see how it came down from Washington and then cut across those other canyons as well. So here's some more shots of that landscape. If you look closely in the center, you can see a little herd of antelope running across. And from studying this area, we can see how water is completely responsible for all of these drop stones and all of the massive canyons. And the antelopes just love it up here. It's a great spot for them. And it's really cool to check out the antelopes and to check out the erosional features. But they're pretty skittish. All right, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And as always, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Bye.